Hello everyone, I am Xerix Lord Sentinel, and welcome back to Century of Economy 2019. It's been a while, but we are back, and it only gets better from here on out. If you're a little lost or don't quite recall what's happened last time, then I recommend you go and watch the last couple reports. Anyways, on to the action. The Spanish gold system. They have adapted the pirate chain exploring and dialed it up to an 11, with a chain leading to 2 different islands. The Spanish have gotten rich off the continued high value of either metals or medicine, and have one of the largest fleets on the seas. Not only is their gold system strong, but their gunship squadron is as well. Here the Spanish form a line against the Americans, who have gotten extremely close, and have built Thompson's Island where the pirate colony once stood. At the end of their turn, the Spanish buy a few captains, just in case they need to convert any of their gold runners into scratch fighters. Alongside the crew on the home island is the Santissima Trinidad, who combines the deadly ability of the Endeavour with that of the Dreadnought. The Spanish have placed Commandant Mateo Vasquez on her, who will use his ability to turn gold into cannons to give the Trinidad silver more than what she already has. The Spanish line of battle spans most of the Southern Sea, and is thinnest in the area around the Split Island and Thompson's Island, but it is also where most of the Spanish capital ships are stationed, with the Corzado and Bauschwan anchoring the formation. In the south by the shipwreck pathway, the line is thicker, with several mid-sized ships supporting the larger 4- and 5-mast vessels, making a literal wall of ships. The Americans do not have as many ships in this area of the sea, but are confident in the ships that are present, should conflict break out. The Cursed are making a point to explore all of the shipwrecks and find as much high-value silver as possible. With no resource islands open to them and the pirates dominating Voya Nui, the Cursed are resorting to any means to get gold. The Fallen Angel has already explored this wreck and found just what she wanted. The King Jones and Grinder are not far off, ready to swoop in and protect the Angel if necessary. Elsewhere, the Cursed make for a different shipwreck, and make the English nervous and annoyed in the process. With the drop of a hat, the Americans sail forward, with the Saratoga and Yankee opening fire on the Garante. The Spanish warship is undamaged, but the Americans are just getting started. To the south, the American squadron, while outnumbered, nonetheless presses the attack, with the Seattle, Jackson, Strife, Pawtucket, and Speedy Return all involved. To the left, the Black Watch has sailed to the bow of the Bauschwan and eliminated 3 masts, although she had help from the schooner York. Back to the northern action, the Americans have thrown an incredible opening punch, with the Thomas Jefferson, Revolution Constitution, and Enterprise all leading the charge. The Garante has been taken down to 2 masts standing, the Cristal del Obispo is down a mast and on fire, as is the fearsome El Corzado, who is a victim of the American battleship, Justice, suffering a full broadside volley and an exploding shot hit. With no less than 4 cancers in the area, the early battle seems to be going in the Americans' favor. The pirates send a squadron through the whirlpools in Voya Nui Bay, and emerge near the northern portal and the Cursed. The Sister's Rage is protected by the Harbinger, Flying Dutchman, Fool's Hope, and the Dragon Angelica. The pirates are taking no chances and sending Calypso into the field with a full guard. Spending one of their few fleet actions, the pirates have Calypso create some more whirlpools. One is placed near the Split Island, in the path of the Americans, while the other is placed within L of Calypso's ship. The English finally manage to send the Goliath through the portal, and she emerges from the northern one, and immediately begins to fire on the French. Only the Revolution suffers a lost mast. The Goliath might have a cannon bonus against the French, but she is just 1 ship, and the French have several ships on their way to the battle zone, among them the Notre Dame and fearsome Première République. Throwing a wrench into their plans, a storm takes out the Minutemen. Both the flotilla and the schooner are sent to the depths. The flotilla may be bought back later if the Americans can find a decent tug for it. With conflict now unavoidable, several Spanish gold ships duck into the fog, while some others make for home to be converted into pure gunships. The Spanish manage to save the Corzado, or at least manage to put out her fires by docking her at the trading port. This leaves a hole in the Spanish line, but they have several ships waiting to fill the gap. The Santo Colombo is one such ship, and with her accurate cannons and firepot specialist, she presents a significant obstacle to the American battle efforts, especially after setting the Thomas Jefferson alight. The Voz de Dios crosses the bow of the Constitution, but fails at her broadside's attack. The Garante has moved out of the way, to make room for the healthier ships to take a crack at the Constitution. The El Argonauta has sailed around the far side of Split, but is confronted by the intrepid Ingrampus. The Americans suffer a major setback, as the Bauschwan cripples the Black Watch, with Kiani killing all the crew, including Captain Canceller Nathan Rivers, who used his canceling to cancel a firepot specialist on the Cresta del Obispo, unknowingly leaving himself open. The Spanish launched the Premier Caballero from their trading port, along with a firepot specialist and a fire shot. At the portal, they put the Suizan into the water, with Sat Captain Sai and other crew. The Spanish have the deepest pockets of all the factions sailing the seas, but are hesitant to spend much of it at once. The Kurds continue to explore Voya Nui and find an interesting mix of UTs. The Heart of Stone, Pirate Codex, Enemy of the State, and Claw Cannon. Other ships dock at the beach and explore a different stack, finding the Martyr's Amulet, the Gem of Hades, a Message in a Bottle, and plunder. The Message in a Bottle sends the now cursed Raven across the sea to the Spanish colony fort. The sudden appearance of a cursed ship in Spanish waters is startling to the Spanish, and the crew of the Raven hope that nothing ill befalls them. The cursed sail around the pirates, equal parts curious and concerned, as the pirates are known for stealing gold from home islands, and the cursed HI is just out of view to the south. The French are also not pleased to see the pirates, and the gunners at the Bastille fort ready their cannons, just in case. The Guichon explores the wreck, while the Phantom and Chummaker stand guard. The increased cursed presence has made the English nervous and slightly less tolerant of their actions. However, conflict with the French will occupy the English for the foreseeable future. At the end of their turn, the Kurds launch their custom 10-mast, the Yaochuan, with a captain, helmsman, Davy Jones Kirstevero, and Madame Maria, a canceller. The Americans fight back on their turn, with the Colossus coming to back up the crippled Black Watch, while the York and Pawtucket continue to pound shots into the Bauschwan, eliminating a few more masts. The Justice has tried to break across the Spanish line and shoot at the docked El Cruzado, but it is not able to get enough cannons in range due to how the Spanish launched their ships the turn prior. In the background, the Thomas Jefferson is docked at Thompson's Isle to repair, while the Enterprise and New Ironsides have raked the bows and broadsided the Santo Colombo, La Resolucion, and El Monte Cristo. Things are quickly getting crowded as ships struggle to find room to move and draw lines of fire. Here, the Constitution has broadsided the Voz de Dios, taking her down to 2 masts standing. The Saratoga has dismasted the Garante, and has positioned herself to take on the crew of the Defiant, chiefly among them Commodore David Porter. The Defiant has suffered at the hands of the Asesino de la Nave, who has hit her with a firepot shot and a fire shot. The Kettering, Ghostwalker, and Concordia are all waiting to get in on the action, but are jammed up around Split Island. The Argonauta is crippled by a combination of the intrepid and Grampus, with only 2 masts left standing. The jamming problem is even more severe in the southern theater, where the American ships are outnumbered but holding their ground. The Jackson, Paul Revere, Seattle, Hessian, and Strife have all done decently to hold the line. The bow of the Stevens can be seen on the bottom left, as she tries to enter the battlefield. The pirates use the whirlpools to return to Voya Nui Bay, but not without losing some masts along the way. They have completed their short-term objective and are now preparing to carry out Phase 2. The Pirate Fleet. Though the pirates have territory that spans across both seas, and despite a home island in the Southern Sea, the pirates are more of a presence in the North Sea, as a result of the hostility of the Americans, forcing many of their ships to the home island. More English ships prepare to go through the portal, to back up the Goliath and to strengthen the English position at the northern portal. The English, like the French and Spanish somewhat, have lots of gold, but are reluctant to spend large chunks of it at once. The Lady Provost sails for the wreck, seemingly heedless of the Guishan and her escort. The Goliath and Ironwood manage to derelict the Revolution, with both sides forgetting that L-range cannons cannot hit the Revolution. The English are still currently outnumbered, with several French warships on their way or already present. The English end their turn by launching the Black Knight from Fort Brompton, with a cast of generic crew. With no less than 3 ships converging on her, the Goliath is quickly sunk, leaving the Ironwood outgunned and outnumbered. The forward is still alive but has fled into the fog to escape the French. With an extra action, the French take the Revolution under tow, and manage to eliminate a mast from the Ironwood, with ships shooting at her from both sides of the portal. With concentrated fire, the Spanish sink the Paul Revere. The Speedy Return has lost one of its outriggers to the Spanish, but is otherwise unharmed. The Pawtucket has dodged a cannon, so to speak, as the Santos Hermanos misses twice. The Trinity has gained another fire match as a result of shooting at the Seattle. With some fancy maneuvering, the Spanish managed to derelict and capture the Black Watch. The Spanish resort to ramming to try and damage the Constitution, but only managed to fell one mast. The Delanave has raked her bow, but Maze protects the crew from being eliminated. The Kettering is also a victim of the ramming, losing her back mast to the Voz de Dios. In the background, the Garante has been taken under tow in an attempt to save her. The Spanish strike hard, sinking the Justice, and giving the Enterprise 2 fire masts. Meanwhile, the Arcozado has gotten back to full strength. The Santos Hermanos is given an extra action, but misses twice against the Colossus. The York has been all but obliterated by the Bauchuan, and the Pawtucket has been set on fire. A storm to the southwest threatens both sides, but is poised to collide with Thompson's Island. Using an extra action, the Bauchuan sinks the York, and now has a clear line of fire to the Colossus. Taking advantage of the whirlpools placed by the pirates, the Villalobos and Armada flotilla get behind the American line. However, the Armada misses all of her shots. At the end of their turn, the Spanish launch a few ships. The Muerte del Diablo with crew, and the Fuerza de Dios with supercrew Almirante Alejandro Garcia Fernandez, who brings captain, helmsman, and fleet admiral to the table all in one crew. Both are launched from the trading port on Pride Rock, ready to fight the Americans. The Acorazado Nuevo and Mano de Dios are launched from the trading port on the Medicine Island. The Pale Moon explores Voronoi and finds, among other things, a Chariot of the Gods, some rum, a French royal decree, and Jack's Piece of 8. The Americans sink the Argonauta. Intermediar would have been a nice prize as well, but the sea monster has stayed submerged so far. The Enterprise puts into Thompson's Island to put out her fires. This leaves a wide open path to the fort and opens a significant hole in the American offensive line. The Jefferson and Enterprise are vulnerable, with only 2 masts standing, and the new Ironsides are likely not enough to stem an offensive by the Spanish. In the background, the Cristobal has rammed into the Constitution, but failed to take a mast off. Maze is concentrating fire on the Spanish ship, but has only eliminated 1 mast so far. The Kettering has also fled to Thompson's, with 1 mast standing. Since longships were fragile and finicky, I decided not to remove their masts for this game, instead getting a piece of sticky note to denote which masts were eliminated. The Villalobos and Armada was sunk in short order between the cannons of the Mohican, Lady Washington, and Vengeance. The Colossus battles the Bauchuan, with assistance from the Denver, and together they have set the giant ship aflame. The Santos Hermanos is set upon by the Paladin, and the Pawtucket makes for the trading port to put out her fires. The battleship Venture is fast approaching the battlefield, and could make a huge difference. However, the ship that has so far made the most difference is the Speedy Return, who has had 2 successful shoot actions and eliminated 2 masts from the Ocean's Edge El Acorazado, who is now engaged by the Seattle. The pirates are relying on the UPS abilities of Captain Jack Sparrow and the Rising Sun to keep bringing in the gold from Voronoi. This has resulted in a minimal income, but the pirates have some stores of gold saved up and are not yet wanting badly for gold. The Leicester decimates the Dauphine Royale, dismasting the ship in one shoot action. The Ironwood returns to English waters, warning the Black Knight and Grand Temple of what awaits them. Seeing an opportunity, the Forward leaves the fog and jumps through a whirlpool, emerging almost safe in English waters, losing her mast in the trip. The Grand Temple prepares to go through the portal. The Magnifique sails astern of the Leicester, but only manages to take off one mast. She sacks a crew to shoot a second time, and this time derelicts the English warship. The Revolution repairs next to the newly launched Glory, the French ironclad. And that wraps up this report. Things have gotten intense, with the Spanish and American conflict dominating the game, though the French and English conflict could just as easily blow up. The Cursed are waiting for the perfect time to strike, and the pirates are plotting something. If you want to see what happens next, make sure you're subscribed. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.